Here lately, I have a lot of trad con men on my Twitter feed because I watch what they say so I can report back to y'all. And this person's name is the Drunk Republican. He says, "Sad day at church. We've been visiting a local place as guests for months now. It's old school, has a great nursery and choir, and has skillfully avoided politics since we started attending. It's all about fellowship and the gospel, and I like that regardless of the denomination. Well, today we were introduced to the new associate female, I know, pastor, who was clearly nervous and doing her best to get through her first service. But my compassion for her quickly ended when she brought up ending racism, white supremacy, the patriarchy, and colonialism. I don't think I was the only one either. I noticed several people squirming in their seats. I simply cannot fathom how these woke clergy can vow to end the patriarchy while saying the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost in the same breath, or how they can have such disdain for white males, the demographic responsible for Christianity's existence in the West. At any rate, I won't be back and I will no longer donate. I'm also emailing the main pastor to let him know I left angry and scared for the future of Christianity rather than enlightened, and that's not the feeling anyone should have leaving the house of God." So, a few months ago, I made a video talking about how patriarchy and religion goes hand in hand. And then all of this is supported by racism, white supremacy, and colonialism. It really is. And this man's post right here basically says all of the exact same things. So, if you are a person like me that wants to do away with the sexism that's baked into the cake, the racism that's baked into the cake of America, and even he said the Christianity is basically because of white men's colonialism here. If you want to do away with this and have the freedoms to do whatever you want to do, practice or not practice, and then you have the nerve to talk about those types of freedoms, then that is something that makes a person like this upset. It's not lost on me that there is a decline in church membership, as well as a decline in marriage rates and birth rates. And feminists are born because of these types of people, and they don't even see it. All right, so this person, Disaffected Pod, says that church is over. There's no going back from a woke female pastor. Abandoned. So these women have the nerve to talk, and women are, wanting to talk about equity and getting rid of the isms, and that makes them like fall back and gasp, like, how dare you? How dare you? White men are why Christianity is even here. How dare you? The Drunk Republican says, "Oh, yeah, I'm gone." And Disaffected Pod says, "I'm so sorry. It turned out that way for your family. How dare your family have to listen to such lunatic rantings?" Disaffected Pod wants to know, "This is what I don't get. Why are blue collar conservative places introducing this stuff? Who's the mole inside doing this?" And the Drunk Republican is like, "Exactly. The former assistant pastor seemed fairly conservative, at least from what I could parse." And Garland is like, "Go ahead and make a telephone call to the senior warden or the church office and tell them." And the Drunk Republican is like, "Probably will." Black Word Bound says, "It's a fair move. This sort of thing thrives on silence. If you are rebuked, as in when he sends the email, at least you know you did the right thing, and those in charge of your church are choosing a false path. Likely her heart is in the right place, but this sort of communist, socialist, social conscious stuff is exactly the false worship the Bible warns against. I'd recommend she fill the Jesus sized hole in her soul with actual scripture." Understand that this is the reason why their church is declining, because they are not in alignment with the fact that people want equity, and they do not want the doctrine of white supremacy to be a pillar of the United States anymore, and it's going to tumble one way or another. And since they do not want to extricate the white supremacy from their doctrine, then it's going to tumble eventually too. Now I'm going to segue to this post from the Heritage Foundation, and I was tagged in this. And this was a tweet or a video that was put out last May, so more than a year ago. The quote It seems to me that a good place to start would be a feminist movement against the pill and for returning the consequentiality to sex. Conservatives have to lead the way in restoring sex to its true purpose and ending recreational sex and senseless use of birth control pills. These people literally believe that they have the right to tell you what to do with your body, that they have the right to define how you use your body. And I do not understand why so many people do not listen to the words that are coming out of their mouth. So this
from a great many young women who were put on the pill at the age of 14 and came off it, so maybe 10 years later, and realized they'd done a complete personality flip. And actually, they, I was, one said, and I quote, I thought I was bipolar. But then it turned out actually it was just this psychoactive substance that I'd been. What were they doing to me? And this is all, and this was all to the purpose of rendering a woman receptive to what is, for the most part, loveless and sometimes extremely degrading sexual access. And I struggle to see in what way that's in women's interests. And given the great many other things that, to my eye, are downstream of the entry into that paradigm, it seems to me that a good place to start would be a feminist movement against the pill, and for rewilding sex, returning the danger to sex, returning the intimacy, and really the consequentiality to sex. And a great deal follows from an intentional reconnection of women's opting intentionally to reconnect with the fullness of our embodied nature.
This person says on that tweet thread, depends what is meant by recreational sex, doesn't it? Many married couples enjoy it for reasons other than creating children, physical and mental bonding, for instance. On the other hand, if that term is meant to describe having sex for fun with just anyone, then I agree that should not be a common practice. But is that your business? If it's not your body, why is it any of your business? If I do something with my body and it doesn't impact you, why is it your business? Sex in a committed relationship is much better and can create mutual respect, bonding, and enjoyment for both people if it's done properly. Why do these people think that they should be able to tell folks what to do with their body? I still have not gotten to the bottom of that. I've been married twice and the sex was fantastic, especially in my second marriage. I've also been clipped since I was about 25 years old. So when I had sex with my partner, it's not to produce a baby. I identify as mostly conservative, by the way. How are you conservative? I mean, yeah, it does make sense that this person is conservative because these people simply feel like you should engage in the rights that they give you. You should enjoy the pleasures that they rubber stamp or check. Rebecca says birth control use is highest among women over 30. Married women are more likely to use birth control than unmarried women. But please go on about ending recreational sex. I'm sure married couples are eager to follow that directive. The thing is, married women want to control their bodies and their reproduction, but they think that only a certain type of woman is using this and she's out here doing whatever she wants with her body. And still to that, I push back and say, why is it any of your business? Somebody is doing something with their body right now that doesn't impact me because my body is mine alone. And if these people actually really believed in rights and freedoms, they would leave women alone and stop trying to dictate what they should be doing with their bodies. So this same video was posted in a subreddit called Stupid People. And you had to see this comment from this person named Winimals. She says, my parents worked for the Heritage Foundation in the 90s. Their positions and activisms have always pointed to this as an overarching goal. I'm always a little surprised when people who don't have my evangelical background are shocked by this because they've been open about it for my entire life, laughing my butt off. Is honestly proof of what gets lost in all the sound and fury of political debate and marketing. Anyone who says the guys who fund the Republican establishment and produce Republican legislation want to ban the pill is called a conspiracy theorist. Meanwhile, these guys are actually like, yeah, we want to ban the pill when talking amongst themselves. I have spent my entire life hearing similar conversations about using courts and trigger laws to take down abortion rights and implementing age checks to limit porn and so on and so on. Well, here we are. We should have listened to the nut jobs. And then Warrior of Truth says, I thought the evangelicals were sort of okay with contraception as long as it was between a man and a woman and they're married. Wasn't it only Catholics who were against contraception? The evangelicals supported abortion up until the 70s, believe it or not. And then Winnemil says there has been a shift since the early 2010s. Warrior of Truth says, do you think it's an unnecessary and reactionary attempt to make up for the declining rate of religion? And Winnemil says it's not about the declining rate of religion. It's the declining rate of the church membership and tithes. Churches are already shuttering around the country because millennials don't stay and the olds can't live forever. Someone said, how did you end up on the left then? And then she goes on to answer. And I actually kind of love this answer. She says, I was a member of the Joshua generation, which is evangelical speak for a group of families who wanted their children to attend college, law school, med school, etc., to take down these rights and liberties from the inside. Because of this, I was taught to be an early and voracious reader with high academic standards for myself. My family's ideology fell apart like tissue paper for me before I finished my first semester of college. Turns out that all of those critical thinking and fact checking skills backfired. So this woman became part of the left because she actually has some critical thinking skills. And this is one of the reasons why they are really trying to pull down education. They're trying to water it down, ban books, and implement their Bible as necessary reading. That is the reason why they are coming for the Department of Education the way they are, because they need people to have their critical thinking turned off. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about these two tweet threads and this finale of this Reddit thread. Jump in the comments, like, comment. I want to remind us all that the dust is global. This is a tweet thread coming out of South Africa. This is a man by the name, I'm just going to call him Dr. Shia. He says, gents, I hope you're taking notes. So he's in the green. He says, hello, ma'am. Since you rejected me, can I please have a refund for last week's date? And I don't know what this word says, akshi shwi, please. And the woman just responded with account please. So I guess she sent the money back. But he says, since you rejected me. So it seems like men across the globe, if you do not give up the goodies, because he didn't go into detail about reject me. So I guess if you do not give up the goodies for a simple date, that means that you got to pay back. So these people are definitely just treating women as if you put in a couple of coins, you're supposed to get out the nookie like a vending machine. And this is how they are treating women globally. He's so proud of this. He says, she refunded me with interest. Now let's follow each other. Dr. Shia continues with, why is the other gender so angry just because I refuse to be a sponsor for hungry women? These are the same types of men that get upset when women have a body count of more than one, but then they are still treating women like you give a couple of bites of food, you're supposed to get the nookie in return. And if you really, really think about that, how is that supposed to go? Because it's not like you're going to find one person on one date and then marry that person. So I don't know how these people with their big brains, their big logical brains, really make that make sense. But that's where these people are. So to go on a date means you're basically sponsoring a woman. And then they get upset when women can just provide dates for themselves, go out with their girls, have girls brunches and girls vacations, because who really wants to be pressured into giving up the nookie simply because you got a hamburger and some fries? All right, so now he's starting to be sarcastic. Gents, I'm folding. I see some feminist gents are on the woman's side. And then to this person, he says, I will send the money back. I hope it will make you rich. Sending her own money back. How is that going to make her rich by sending her own money back? These people with these big brains and logic just fail to make sense to me. But it's maybe because I have a small woman's brain. So this man agrees. He says, this is perfect. We shouldn't allow them to go use us. And Dr. Shiak is just like, yes. So this person, the South African, saying agreeing to go out on a date while seeing no potential is problematic. She was there to fill the stomach, as if this person couldn't fill her own stomach. Why do they believe that women can't just not go on dates? Why even ask a person out on a date? If you asking a person out on a date, it's like these big brain logical people think that sex is automatically included, but then they still shame women for actually doing it. It's mind boggling to me. But Dr. Sheik said she knew what she was doing. And this person says, yo, this is hectic. This is where I'm going to end it. These people are really sitting up here high fiving each other and loving that they're saying these things to each other. I do want to know what you think about this. Go ahead, jump in the comments and let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.